Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Grow Your Occupancy podcast. I'm Julie Podewitz, CEO and founder, and today I welcome Patrick Dooley and Natalie Ross to the show. Welcome, welcome.
Good morning.
Good
Thank you,
morning.
Julie.
Well, Patrick, you and I have known each other professionally for probably like 15 years, and Natalie, you and I for several years. But it's always great to see you. You too, I'm so excited to learn more about this, have joined forces, your vast experience, to co-found One Extra Consulting.
That's right, Julie. Thank you. As you know, Natalie and I were both involved in a senior housing company, senior management company for about the one that I was part owner of for 14 years. We sold that company last June, and about a year before that, Natalie and I had embarked on a program to really help people that are new into the industry and really need help for people that have been in the business for a long time. I personally been in the business for 25 years, and after I sold the company, I felt like I still had something to give and some information to impart to others, and so that's why we really got together and started One Extra Consulting.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love the name too. So Natalie, going from and I can completely relate to this, right? So going from that maybe safe, if you will, sort of corporate, or, a job, right, with benefits, and starting your own company. I mean, that's a leap, right? That's jumping over a cliff in a sense, and certainly you have a fantastic partner here. But what was it that made you say, yeah, I want to take this leap?
It's a great question, Julie. Thank you. So I think in one way, to be completely fair, this was not my first foray into that. I had been consulting on my own for some time prior to Patrick and I having the opportunity to work together. So I had a little bit of comfort in understanding what I was getting into. But I will tell you, it was much easier this time, knowing that I was going to be going through the stressors and the pressures and the excitement of starting a company when I knew Patrick was going to be by my side. So I think that seeing, we could clearly tell that there was a market. We felt both compelled to meet this need, that it wasn't that difficult to say, this is just the right time in our lives. Both of us, if for different reasons, said, this is the time. And we believe in ourselves and we believe in what it is we're trying to do. So let's go for it.
I love it. Well, you both have a ton of talent, a ton of knowledge, great hearts. But what is it that you're going to be doing at One Extra Consulting? What's your expertise?
So I would say that we have sort of three spokes, if you will, where we really concentrate our efforts. Internet technology, IT, human resources, and that includes a branch to payroll, and then sort of operational efficiencies that can include some culinary support. So we are working, a lot of our clients are in senior living, but that's not the only clients that we can touch. We've got specialties in our own realms outside of senior living, but we're finding that the demand is predominantly in senior living.
So was it that you both have extensive experience in business period, but Patrick, you're mentioning 25 years in senior living. What challenges, maybe I won't say 25 years, let's say the last handful of years, so what challenges, as an owner, as an operator, have you both seen that kind of prompted you to say, yes, I really like to continue to support in this way?
I think we had a handful of personal experience with this when we were ourselves with a senior living company, where what we were finding, and this is, I'm going to quote a little bit of Patrick here, and I guarantee you he will weave this into his next answer as well, but we recognized that we were not experts in certain pieces, right? Our jobs were to care for our residents, to be efficient in our operations. I was tasked primarily with managing our talent and our workforce. We're not accountants. We are not technical. Oh my goodness. If you've spoken to either of us, we are not technical. We don't necessarily specialize in these other things. And so we were focusing our efforts trying to manage these processes and realize this is foolish. If we could have someone that we trusted implicitly to do those things, we could focus more fully on the things that bring us joy and serve our residents the best. So that was really the genesis, and kind of a light bulb, if you will, to say, we have this talent to serve in these ways to take that headache away from others that are facing the same challenge.
And Julie, I'm going to share a personal experience, and it's going to show a little bit of vulnerability that Natalie so kindly opened up. But about 3 years ago, with Milestone, we realized that a lot of our time, and I mean a lot of our executive staff and leadership, were spending an inordinate amount of time on accounting. And even though our CEO is a CPA and whatnot, we spend a lot of time on the day-to-day minutia of accounting. Now, to be clear, our company doesn't provide accounting services, but we learned the experience by outsourcing our entire accounting department to, and I'm going to say it, Waxman and Associates does all our accounting now. They even do our accounting now, and they do a fantastic job. And really over like 6 months, the stress of accounting, the stress of the different reports we had to provide, it took it all away from us, so we could focus on the important things that we needed to, that we were good at, but we couldn't because we were focusing on other things. And so that's when Natalie and I got the idea of, well, let's focus on the things we're really good at and take those things away from the people that aren't really that good at or don't have it. They can't afford to have that in their small companies. And so, we learned from that experience, because management companies are really meant to focus on operations, making sure the customers are happy, the residents are happy, and making sure that they're focusing on that bottom line. And by doing that, it really helps a lot of the companies we deal with focus on what's most important to them.
And I love it. And that's, you're speaking my language, because that's how we engage, right? And the reasons at Grow Your Occupancy, and prior to being on the provider side, it was again on the consultant side. Natalie, like you said, wasn't my company, but that's when I admire companies that are groups that say, hey, look, like you said, let's focus in on our sweet spot. We should all be doing this as individuals, and also as for everybody owns a business. If you have a job, you're owning your business. In sales, the sales director owns that business. So what is it that the individual or a group, an organization does really well and can make the most impact, should spend the most time, right? And then reach out, hire, compartmentalize, and add to your, as a management company, right? Add to your bandwidth instead of stretching, because nobody, we were recently at Grow. I was very fortunate we've grown enough to hire a COO, because I was doing, a COO, CMO, CEO, that's not my, sweet spot, right? You hire a professional, someone who's absolutely, in this case, Danny Merlino, who's an expert in that, then I can focus in, right? So it's at every single level. So what I'm hearing you say is that that it's vulnerability, and you guys being vulnerable enough to say, we all should say, look, we're really good at this, and we can do that, right? Yep. But yeah, and vulnerability is kind of a bit, a little bit more into the forefront now, with how it really is strength. And
I think especially executives and leaderships of companies should really look out and realize, that put their ego aside. Our job is to take care of residents. Our job is to help our owners of these communities improve the bottom line and do all the things that are necessary to do that. And I know we'll talk a little bit more about that today, but if we're focusing on things that we don't know, just like what you do in your industry with focusing on marketing, that's not an area we focus on. Guess what? It's because we're not good at it. So I'm not going to focus on something I'm not good at. I'd rather take care of the needs that people have on the things that we focus on, just like you do.
Well, and like we've said as well, the challenges, let's be honest, especially since probably fall of 22, it is much harder to find quality people. And companies of all types, right? Management companies and the like are having to do more with less. So they may not need a full-time person, and we can save them money by saying, we can take care of this need that you have, outsource it to us. We will only give you the support that you need. You can then use those valuable dollars other ways, and you're not spinning your wheels trying to find someone to fill that, talent void, So I think it's on both sides we're seeing that. It's not only the vulnerability to accept, "Oh, maybe we're not the best at this certain thing, but for
Right.
this, we can take this headache from you."
Right, and isn't it that it's the investment really and greater outcome?
Yes. Very much.
Absolutely. So because I'm, sales and marketing, Patrick, that always focused and businesses should be focused right on top line revenue, but how does what you all do support a management company owner operator on that sales side, move-in revenue side?
Julie, it's a great question because we get asked that question all the time. I think the thing that we're most proud of in what we do is we really we take away the things that people are distracted by, the things that keep up and take up their entire day. When I was an executive, I did one of those studies to figure out how I spent my time, and I spent 62% of my week on things that really didn't matter, that really didn't affect the end result of my company. And I was willing to be vulnerable and do that to understand what it is I needed to do as an executive to really outsource the things, like we've said, that we weren't good at. And one of the things that we focus on, we support hundreds of computers out in the field, and our one of our clients has 31 communities, and we support all their computers, we support all their emails. That is one thing an executive of a company shouldn't have to even think about. And yet they do. And when you have your own IT department, guess what? They focus on all things cybersecurity and all those things that can happen to you. And if you have a professional company that's doing it, then you don't have to worry about it anymore. And Natalie and I joke about this. We asked one of our leaders in our company who'd been in the industry for 30 plus years at the time, why did we build such a big company of things that we don't really understand? And the answer was, it's because that's always the way we've always done it, right? We had all these departments that guess what? They weren't companies that were focused on the end result of operating a management or operating a community that takes care of seniors. And so our role is to take away the distractions that impede the ability for people to generate leads, to generate customer satisfaction, to get out there and get in the communities and help your communities sell and grow.
We like this phrase, Julie, no mission without margin. And so we cannot serve what we've been called to serve, right? Those residents, the teams, these incredible people that serve our seniors, they can't do that if they're not making money themselves, the bottom line. So everything we do is just like Patrick said, we are scraping away that noise of things that are terribly important, but shouldn't be important to those operators, to those executives. We will gladly take those on and allow you to focus on your sales process, allow you to focus on your bottom line and grow your business.
That's got to be music to a lot of people's ears. I'm sure you hear this and you've experienced it. Margin squeeze, operators are seeing and experiencing low or maybe lower than ever margins, even with growing occupancy post-COVID. Do you have any thoughts around this? Any advice of how you kind of really thoughts about how you see this playing out in 2024, and any advice or input in this area, how we can grow the margin?
Sure. I mean, certainly we're talking about the margins of the communities themselves, and, having the support center, the mothership, if you will, out in the field. We always operated with the inverse triangle, right? The support center always supported the field. We answered to the field, right? And that meant that we got out there, and, the money we spent was on people that would make a difference in the field. The stuff we tried to outsource are the things that don't, IT, HR, culinary, don't necessarily get out in the field on a regular basis. Our culinary did, but really getting out into the field and rolling up our sleeves and helping the people in the field with all things that would help the resident satisfaction, that would help promote our ability to charge the rents we need to have the margins be what they need to be. Let's face it, you can't cut your way out of margin squeeze, right? You can't save enough on food costs. You can't save enough on labor, which keeps growing and growing and growing in cost. The incentives we have to provide people are going up and up. Insurance, you've heard it every day, right? All our costs are going up. And having that open communication with residents so they understand the why behind their rent increases. And sometimes we've taken rent increases twice a year in the last couple of years. We've had to. And communicating with those residents so they understand the why behind what those increases are, and making sure they understand that what we're trying to do is hire the best of the best. And to do that costs money. To have the best services, to have the best facilities we can possibly provide takes money. And I'll be honest, I had people ask me how I slept at night, and charging $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 a month for services. It costs a lot of money to take care of people. And when you break it down by the hour, it's not that expensive. And we need to be very open and honest with people about what it costs in this industry. And I understand that there's a squeeze between what people can afford and what people can't afford. And I understand we're helping a couple clients that are in the low income housing sector, which is important to me as well. But we can't all serve the same client. But there has to be, the ability for people to pay different rents out there for the services we provide. But let's face it, it costs a lot of money to take care of people. We're a service industry. We're one-on-one, and we're there to make a positive impact in the lives of others. And it costs money to do that.
It absolutely does. Natalie, any thoughts there?
The only other thing I was going to mention is that I think that there's some shift into senior living companies expanding their scope. So looking at community-based services that they may also have an expertise in, recognizing that there may be an entirely untapped resource of revenue that is outside their walls. And so I think that there's something to be said about what can you do for someone who maybe can't afford to live in your building, but needs some type of support. There's lots of options out there. It's just a matter of changing maybe the way we think.
Yeah, really, I'm processing everything that you're saying, guys. And like, for example, and Patrick, you talk about like really delivering on, and not cheating ourselves by reducing rates and concession, because taking care of people in every way, in every sense, costs money. And we should be proud of what we charge, and we should be proud of the service and experience that our residents and team members and families experience as well. So what might it look like, taking a micro change of an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours of time taken? Let's say you save an operator those 3 hours a week, probably is much more than that. Then those 3 hours go into resident engagement, go into the outreach, go into being able to sit down for a meal, with the family. What might that do in a positive, virtuous wheel effect of, yes, we can charge, and we can not, we don't have to do concessions and things because it costs a lot of money. And this is what our residents are experiencing. That's, yeah. So when someone thinks of One Extra Consulting, the name comes up, what would you like them to think about or feel?
Certainly relief, removing a headache that they have that we can solve for them. We have clients that have, like we said, 35 communities. We have clients that have 5, and helping them remove a headache in an area that they don't, they're spending a lot of time on because they have to get cyber insurance, and they don't know all the things they need to know. And so for us to be able to support their computers 24/7, host their emails, those are, like I said, those are things people shouldn't have to think about. Their HR, setting up policies and procedures, employee handbooks, making sure that all the things in their employee handbook should be there. Being able to check a box and say, we've got an updated employee handbook. We have clients that have spent years with a very, they've got all the HR people in their department they need, but they don't have time to do their employee handbook updates. So things like that we can do to take things off their plate to remove a headache is what we're really good at.
I love it. And you mentioned that you have clients with, smaller operators, 5 communities, 35 and bigger. What is your, I'm gonna say, what does an ideal client look like for you? Or is there such a thing?
I don't think there is such a thing, right? We can help the small, even one location. We have businesses that are just a single location, maybe have 10 employees. We have, as Patrick mentioned, multiple locations with thousands of employees. We are happy to help. I think it's, to be frank, our ideal customer is someone who's sort of a cultural fit with us. We want to work with them. They want to work with us. They have a similar idea in mind that we are collaborating together to help them meet their goals. We are a support to them and are here to have them say, this is what I need, and have us say, that's why you called us. We're here to take care of that need. So I would say it's more a culture fit than anything else.
I think one of the things that surprised me the most, Julie, when we ventured outside of the comfort zone of our own company and decided to help other companies, was the amount of people that didn't support the field. And what I mean by that is, we'd have people say, well, we have chefs in the building. They just figure out what they're going to feed our residents, right? And it's like, well, what about your order guides? What about your menus? What about and they'd be like, well, the chefs in the community figure that out. And so not to have standards for your residents company-wide and having that foundation, for example, shocked me, because how do you run a company without a solid foundation in any discipline you have? And that's what we help people do, is build that foundation so it's strong, and they can have a person to call, and even their chefs can call our consultants and say, how do I do this? How do I do that? I mean, just being able to have that person to call makes all the difference in the world, to feel like they're supported, and then can turn around and support and care for their residents. That's very, very important.
Patrick and Natalie both, but Patrick, since I've known you for so many years, one of the many things that I appreciate about you and really admire about you is your passion for your residents, for the residents, for the people that are served in senior living is real. It's true, as it is from, of course, many, many people in my business, but that really drives you, doesn't it?
It does. And I'll be vulnerable again. I go to certain conferences, and you know which one I'm talking about. It's got 3 letters in it. And there are a lot of people there that just get in the business for the return on investment. I'm in the business because I want to go to sleep at night knowing we made a difference in the lives of others, right? And that should be the mentality of anybody getting into our business. Yes, you can make money at it, but really their focus should be on, number one, taking care of our residents and making sure we're making a difference. And if we can help take some of the burden off of some of these executives so they can do just that'll make me feel fantastic. And it is real. My parents are gone. My wife's parents are gone, and they were always very, very proud of what I did for a living, that we took care of people. And I learned so much from the people we serve. And it's so, it's an industry I would never get out of. I mean, I just absolutely love the seniors housing industry and what we do for people. It makes a difference.
I love it. I love it. And Natalie, what about you? What drives you to stay serving senior living?
Yep. So it's interesting. I think I have a little bit of a tweak on that perspective. And anyone who's known me for any period of time will have heard me say this. I care about our residents deeply, but I am insanely passionate about the people that serve our residents. I think the heart that you have to do this kind of work is remarkable. And so my driving force is helping people that are doing this work have a good existence, to feel rewarded by what they do, to know that the people that are employing them care deeply and see them for who they are, and their spirits and their dedication and their love for our residents. So that's what keeps me going. And I have felt, I kind of fell into senior living right out of college and thought, okay, I'll just do this for a short period of time till I can find a real job. And I'll tell you what, I got the bug, and it's never left. And I've been in senior living for a little longer even than Patrick has. And I have been so grateful that I have been given so much more than I have ever given because of this industry. So I'm very grateful to be here. And as long as I'm welcome, I'll always serve in this field.
Oh, it's been a pleasure having you both on Grow Your Occupancy podcast. If someone would like to learn more about One Extra Consulting or reach out to you, how do they do that?
Best way is probably through our website or to reach out to Patrick or I individually. So our website is oneextraconsulting.com and our email addresses is just our first name at oneextraconsulting.com. So Patrick or Natalie, we'd be very happy to see if we can help you.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, thanks again. You two are the perfect business partnership. You got it all. And I can't wait to have you on next year. Talk about all of your growth and the impact that you've helped others make for both our residents and those that serve our residents. Thank you all for listening to another episode of the Grow Your Occupancy podcast. If you would like any more information about sales and marketing and what we do here, you can find us also at our website. Like, subscribe, and share so that other people can benefit from the phenomenal knowledge and experiences of professionals like Natalie and Patrick. Thanks again so much.
Thank you, Julie.
Thank you, Julie. What an honor.